So continue on with chapter 22. Then said the disciple, "Tell us, O Master, for what reason man must need to be circumcised?" Jesus answered, "Let it suffice you that God has commanded it to Abraham, saying, Abraham, circumcise thy foreskin, and that of all thy house, for this is a covenant between me and thee forever." Chapter 23. The origin of circumcision and covenant of God with Abraham and damnation of the uncircumcised. Having said this, Jesus set nigh unto the mountain which they look upon, and his disciples came to his side to listen to his words. Then said Jesus, Adam, the first man, having eaten by the fraud of Satan, the food forbidden of God in paradise, his flesh rebels against the Spirit, whereupon he swore, saying, By God, I will cut thee. And having broken a piece of rock, he seized his flesh to cut it with the sharp edge of the stone, whereupon he was rebuked by the angel Gabriel, and he answered, I have sworn by God to cut it, and I will never be a liar. Then the angel showed him the splendidity of his flesh, and that he cut off, and hence, just as every man take flesh for the flesh of Adam, as is he bound to observe in his son, and from generation to generation came down the obligation of circumcision. But in time of Abraham, there were a few circumcised upon the earth, because that idolatry was multiplied upon the earth, whereupon God told Abraham the fact concerning circumcision, and made his covenant, saying, The soul that shall not have his flesh circumcised, I will scatter him from among my people forever. The disciple trembled with fear of this word of Jesus, for which vehemence of spirit he spake. Then said Jesus, Give fear to him that has not circumcised for his foreskin, for he is deprived of paradise. And having said this, Jesus spake again, saying, The spirit of many is ready in the service of God, but the flesh is weak. The man, therefore, that fear God ought to consider what flesh is, and where it had its origin, whereto it shall be reduced. Of the clay and of the earth created God flesh, and into it he breathed the breath of life, with and in breathing therein. And therefore, when the flesh shall hinder the service of God, it ought to be spurned like clay, and trampled on. For as much as he has had his soul and his word shall keep him, will still keep it in life eternal. Where the flesh is at this present, it desires make manifest that it is a harsh enemy of all good, for it alone desire sin. Or then man, for the sake of satisfying one of his enemies, to live of pleasing God, his Creator. Consider ye this: all the saints and the prophets have been enemies of their flesh for service of God. Therefore, readily and with gladness they went to their death, so as not to offend against the law of God given by Moses, his servant, and I go and serve the false and lying gods. Remember Elijah, who fled through the desert places of mountains, eating only grass, clad in goat skin, and how many days he slept not, how much cold he endured, and how many showers drenched him, and that for the space of 7 years, wherein endured that fierce persecution of the unclean Jezebel. Remember Elisha, who had barley bread and wore the cautious raiment. Verily I say unto you that they, not fearing to spurn the flesh, were feared with great terror by the king and princes. This should suffice for the spurning of the flesh of man. But if you gaze into the scriptures, you shall know what flesh is. Chapter 24. Notable example how one ought to flee from banqueting and feasting. Having said this, Jesus wept, saying, Woe to those who are servants to their flesh, for they are sure not to have any good in the other life, but only torments for their sins. I tell you that there was a rich glutton who paid no heed to oath but gluttony, and so every day had a splendid feast. There stood at his gate a poor man by name Lazarus, who was full of wounds and was fain to have those crumbs that fell from the glutton table, but no one gave them to him. May all mock him, only dog had pity on him, for they licked his wound. It came to pass that the poor man died, and the angel carried him to the arms of Abraham, our father. The rich man also died, and the devil carried him to the arm of Satan, whereupon undergoing the greatest torment, he lifted up his eyes from the altar, saw Lazarus in the arms of Abraham, then carried the rich man and cried, the rich man, O Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus, who upon his finger may bring me a drop of water to cool my tongue, which is tormented in this flame. Abraham answered, Son, remember that thou received thy good as in other life, and Lazarus is evil. Therefore now thou shalt be the torment, and Lazarus in consolation. The rich man cried out again, O Father Abraham, in my house there were 3 brethren of mine. Therefore send Lazarus to announce to them how much I am suffering, in order that they may repent and not come hither. Abraham answered, They have Moses and the prophets. Let I them hear them. The rich man answered, My father Abraham, but if one dead shall arise, they will believe. Abraham answered, Whoso believe not Moses and the prophets will not believe even the dead, if they should arise. See then whether the poor was blessed, said Jesus, who have patience and only desire that which is necessary, hating the flesh, all wretches there, who bear others to the burial, to give the flesh for food of worms, and do not learn the truth. So far from it, they live here like immortals, for they build great houses and purchase great revenues and live in pride. Chapter 23-25. How one ought to despise the flesh, and how one ought to live in the world. Then said he who was right, O Master, true are thy words, and therefore have we forsaken all to follow thee. Tell us then how we ought to hate our flesh. To kill ourselves is not lawful, and living we must give in its livelihood. Jesus announced, Keep the flesh like a horse, and you shall live securely. For into a horse food is given by the measure, and labor without measure. And the bridle is put on him, that he may walk as thy will. Is tied up, that he may not annoy anyone. He is kept in a poor place and beaten when he is not obedient. So Thou then, O Barnabas, thou shalt live always with God, and be not offended at my word. David the prophet did the same thing, as he confessed, saying, I am as an horse before thee, I am always by thee. Now tell me whether is poorer he who is content with little, or he who desired much. Verify, I say unto you, that if the world if the world had but a sound mind, no one would amass anything for himself, but all would be in common. But in this is known its madness. Then the more it amasses, the more it desires, and as much as it amasses for the fleshly response of others, does it amass the same. Therefore, let one single rope suffice for you. Cast away your purse, carry no wallet, no candle on your feet, and do not think, saying, what shall happen to us? But have thought to do the will of God. He will provide for your need as so much that nothing be lacking unto you. Verily, I say unto you that amassing much in this life give sure witness of not having anything to receive in the other, or he has, or that has Jerusalem and his native country built not houses in Samaria, for that there is enmity between these cities. Understand ye? So thank you being with me. Salam.